I have one of Mark from Long Island Watches, personal watches from his collection. What do I think of it? We'll find out on this episode of
Average Joe.
It's always time. Kind of one. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel AvgJoeWatchReviews, where we do more than just reviews. So, as you saw in the intro, I have one of Mark's personal watches. These are watches that he produces at his company, Long Island Watches. And this is actually a watch that pays homage to the very popular yet discontinued Seiko Monsters. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and also click a like, which is the most charitable way to help support the channel. So with no further ado, we're gonna flip the channel and not flip the channel, we're gonna flip the camera. And stay tuned because I actually am going to compare it to an actual Seiko Monster. And as you can see, these guys look like twins minus the color of the dial. So stay tuned as I make the comparison and let you guys know whether or not Mark's Long Island watch, the Monster, even though it is more affordable, is it worth getting over the Seiko Monster? So you definitely want to stay tuned for that video. But this one here is all about the Islander. So we don't have it, well, I just shook it a couple times and it did get it moving. So this does have the 4 o'clock position crown. And right away, I noticed that it does have a very distinct lip here for the crown guard. But it's actually only on one side. And the reason for that is when we twist it in, as what we're gonna do here, you'll notice that the crown is recessed just a little bit. But if we didn't have that little lip there, it would be exposed entirely if you take a look there. Okay, so, and that lip is actually part of the case. Even though from the top it does look like it's just kind of just there as an extra piece, but it actually is a part of the case design. So really, really neat. The other thing I notice about these Monsters is how the case actually matches the bezel. You can see these indentions here, and as you twist the bezel, you can see how you can get it misaligned, and it just really, it's a really cool look. I really like that. It's very distinctive of a Monster. Now the problem with these bezels, anyone that owns Monsters knows that winding it or twisting it at a position other than the corners is a little bit more difficult. As you can see, you have full grip at the, I would say 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock position, and the 1, 2 o'clock position, or should I say actually more like the 2 o'clock position and the 8 o'clock position is definitely your best grip. Even like here, you have the interference with the crown, but you can see that design actually carry over to the other side as well. And you can even tell whether or not you have the pip lined up properly. As you can see, if these are not lined up, you're definitely not lined up. So the bezel action, you can take a listen. It's actually, it's not tight, it's not loose, it's okay, you know. It doesn't feel like a typical Seiko bezel, which I always like to say it's spongy. It usually sounds like this one here. This is a typical Seiko bezel. So the Monster definitely, or the Long Island Monster, I should say, definitely doesn't have that typical Seiko feel. So Mark did add some AR coating. You can actually see that it doesn't have the dial isn't washed out when you put it under light. So we take a look at the dial itself, and you can see it's got like the fangs at the 12 o'clock position, and then you've got the candlestick indices. You've got the varying sizes. 6 and 10 o'clock positions, they're definitely larger than all the rest, as you can notice here. Now, this is actually styled after the Generation 1 monsters. The Generation 2 actually has fangs all throughout, and I'll actually put up a picture here to show you what that would look like. Now, the handset is pretty cool too, because you've actually got almost looks like a sharp tooth, maybe an arrowhead at the hour hand, and then your minute hand is pretty standard. And take a look at your second hand there as well. I like how that's done, and they're all done in blue, as well as the indices. They are outlined in blue, and just like you would expect, the loom on this is excellent. And we'll take a look at a loom shot. Now, people give Mark a lot of beef about his logo, and you know, at the end of the day, who cares? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's very minimalistic, and you know, it's just something that, like, it's his business. You know, literally, it's his business. So it doesn't bother me. So I mean, at the end of the day, who cares? So let's get into the bracelet. But before we do so, let's take a look at these really short, stubby lugs. But I noticed right away, we've got some really nice brushing going on. Now, this is a used watch. As I said, this is actually from Mark's collection. But you can see the brushing is kind of like, just kind of goes along with the contour of the case. And you've got some more brushing up here. But those lugs are really stubby. And then you got some polishing here at the where the bracelet meets the case. Now, what's interesting is typically your bracelets are like really, they're usually, I mean, there's usually not a space for, you know, from here to here. Usually the bracelet actually will come up to here. So that's kind of an interesting touch that I didn't notice before. And you can see where the bracelet actually lays in. It actually almost tucks in behind the case, as you can see here. So very interesting. As I'm actually going through this, I didn't notice that before. The other thing I do like is the fact that you've got a stainless steel bezel, so you know, you don't have to worry about scratching the paint. And you also have the paint filled you know, indices here in black. And I like this. It's got a very industrial look, and it's a very practical look. So, you know, nice job there. These bracelets are incredible. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you call these links, but I'm going to call these, I don't know, C links for right now. But they are brushed very nicely with the polish on the center links there. We do have a milled clasp with a fold over safety. You've seen these clasps multiple times. This is brushed. Positive click. Everything works just as it should. No issues whatsoever. Always nice to see a milled clasp on a bracelet indeed. We see that we do have, these are indeed push pins. Not a problem at this price point, and quite frankly, I never have a problem with really push pins until you get to like a couple $1,000s. That's just my personal opinion. We do get Sapphire Crystal, and you do see Long Island here with the logo once again. This is indeed the Islander, 200 meters of water resistance. So let's take a look at this on my wrist. Mark's wrist actually, I think, is very similar to mine, so this one fits like a glove, and it's got really great wrist presence. The dial is extremely just clean and easy to read. And what I'll do is I'm going to give you guys some measurements, but before I do so, I'm just going to show you really quick how to set the time and date. I just clicked it out twice, as you heard. You notice it's got that knurled crown there, very nicely done, and you've got the Islander signed crown there. So we click this out 2 positions, and I always like to see where the date changes. So we're gonna get here, and we see that the 18 is just about to change, so that'll be the first thing that changes. All right, so it changes right just before 11:55, and then the day of the week will then start and finally change right to Spanish at around 12:42, and then it will go to English right around the, I guess, yeah, right around the 3 o'clock position. Now, if we want to change the day and date, we'll click it out 1 position, just like so. Downward is indeed the date, and then upward is the day of the week. If you're in Spanish, you can leave it there and it'll keep changing to Spanish, or you go back to English there, and not a problem. Screw down crown, excellent. Everything feels good. And let me just wind the crown for you. Not a problem there at all. And I'll actually put the movement down here to show you guys exactly what this one is running. And we're going to take some measurements here. We're going to go from the 8 to 2 position. Since there's no interference, we're looking at a, wow, it's just, this one's just under 41.5. So we're still looking at a 41 case diameter. The case thickness is indeed a 14 easily. And our lug to lug, again, we're looking at the stubby lugs. We're looking at a 47 millimeters, so not too shabby. Should be a 20. Yeah, we're looking at a 20 millimeter lug width. All right, so here's some final thoughts on the Islander Monster. This is a watch that Mark offers at a great price. These aren't limited production. He is producing these currently, and these are readily available on his website. I'm going to put the description down below. It's not an affiliate site. I don't have an affiliation with him, so you know, this is just, you know, because he lent me the watch. I just want to show my appreciation by obviously giving him a shout out. So, you know, there's definitely a place for this watch if you're not a collector of monsters, because there's just people out there that just like the look of the monster, but they don't want to pay the price gouging that eBay has, which I currently despise eBay and I avoid it at all costs. So if you want the monster, but you don't want to pay Seiko Monster prices because these are not produced anymore, I see no harm in purchasing the Long Island version of the Seiko Monster. So that's my 2 cents. Keep the change, and always remember that there's always time to be kind to one another. Please take care of each other, and I'll see you guys next time on AvgJoeWatchReviews. God bless, my friends.